For weeks, I've been getting comments. Derailious, where's the Iron Man video? Come on, Derailious, where is it? Where is it, Iron Man boy? Upload the Iron Man. We need to see it. Guys, I have been grinding ghost shards for weeks because of the changes that the admins made. Let me weave you a tale. Let me spin you a story as to how terrible harnessing demonic power in Skyblock turned out to be. For those who are uninitiated with the Skyblock attribute system, and boy do I not blame you, the Demon Shard, or the Pity Shard, allows you to fill your RNG meter up to 10% faster. It's pretty great, it's a good attribute to have, but most people don't rush it early because it can be a pain to get. I, however, am both an idiot and want a good YouTube title, so I needed to get this shard relatively quickly. The problem is, the moment I announced at the end of the last episode that today we'd be getting the Demon Shard, the admins made a tiny change to the recipe. Before, you could fuse in pretty much any combat shards you wanted. Sure, it'd be annoying, but I could grind out a bunch of Lapis zombies or Glaciite walkers, and I'd be able to get the shard. The change was that now you needed either legendary shards or ghosts, and I can't kill either of them. So guess what we're gonna have to do today? So it's by this point you might be asking yourself, Derailious, what do you actually need in order to make the demon shards? It can't be that bad. Well, I need 3,750 Lapis zombies, 3,750 Glaciite walkers, 1,500 ghosts, and 600 verdants. And I need to combine them in the most convoluted way possible in order to get Kraken shards, which I then fuse together to get the actual demon shards. That may not sound like a crazy amount of work, but I currently have basically no hunter fortune. So before we get hunting, we have to go foraging. Oh yeah, before we continue, make sure to like, subscribe, use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order. And if you ever want to see anything Iron Man related, you can actually go to Jade's channel, Celestial Milk. I'll have it on screen now. She uploads basically full-length Let's Play style videos of this series. So if you have any interest at all, make sure you go sub to her, click on those videos. I'll have them linked down below. They're really fun to put together. I don't really have much else to say. Code RAIL once again. Okay, back to the video. In order to actually make my experience getting the shards way easier, I need this specific buff, Hunter's Luck, at tier 6, Heart of the Forest. Now, not to spoil anything, but I did end up getting Heart of the Forest 6. It didn't take a crazy amount of time, it was a lot of chopping down trees, but with it, I will have a lot more Hunter Fortune, 92 in fact, so it will be a lot easier for me to get the shards I need. The effective amount of grind that I have to do has basically dropped by half. Another pretty quick and easy upgrade is to head over to Albert and get the medium pocket black hole. It allows you to have a 10% chance to gain a second shard from the monster, which basically has a 10% chance to double your total output because it stacks with your hunter fortune. It's a really good upgrade, I highly recommend it. And on Iron Man, it's not that bad because we already got mineral armor, meaning the obsidian was super easy to get. Literally the hardest part about this was the 1 million coins, which frankly wasn't too terrible either. But now that I have it, I'll be able to get shards a lot more easily. Now that my hunter fortune was at least half decent, I was able to start farming for the shards, and I began with verdants, which were criminally easy. You literally just run around this lake and you start getting a crazy amount. They're the little green fish. You can probably see them like right behind my head. They are not hard to get in the slightest. I ended up getting all 600 that I needed within like 15 minutes, not even. It probably was even less than that. This grind was so simple, I wouldn't mind doing it again. It was at this point that I went over to the deep caverns to basically grind out all of the Lapis zombies that I needed. And it was a bit of a grind. It took about 4 hours. But the main thing I have to say here is towards the end, there were people intentionally trying to grief the people who were actually farming the shards. And the Skyblock community is just so different than how it was back in the day, man. I remember in 2019, I used to watch the Technoblade videos where he was talking about how everyone was just so nice and everyone was just dropping gear on the floor and holding little parties and giving other people stuff, and it was sunshine and rainbow. It is not like that anymore, man. You can run around Skyblock, do whatever you want. You could be level 30. Doesn't matter. Players will do anything in their power to stop you from getting what you want to do done, and it is such a pain. I'm not even gonna lie. The hardest part about doing this challenge wasn't even farming the shards. It was other people getting in the way intentionally to try to stop you. It was ridiculous. But after a few hours of grind, we did end up getting it done. What a pain, man. But finally, we can move on. Alright, so recently the admins made a major buff to the Mithril Gourmand event where they gave you a ton more Mithril powder if you get a lot more of the tasty Mithril pieces. So basically what everyone in all these lobbies is doing is they're mining for the entire 10-minute duration. And then at the end, they're going to hand them in instead of handing them in early and ending the event early. That way everyone gets a ton more tasty mithril and therefore a lot more mithril powder. So we're going to try this one out and see how much we get. Alright, so someone ended the event early, so I do have to TP to him, but I do have about 4 and a little bit stacked, so that's 266 tasty mithril. And now I'm going to run over here, because I need to speak to Bryn more, because I need to get a powder pumpkin. That gives you another 15% mithril powder, I believe. There it is, so it's actually 50k. Okay, let me pull some money out. There we go. Eat that. I have my proper armor on. I should probably... I don't think my drill will actually help me. I also have royal equipment. This gives me 15% more powder each from the events. Keep in mind, I don't actually have the plus 50% powder buff perk, so we're going to see how many we get from this, but hopefully it's at least more than like 25, 30k. And we ended up getting 66,000 mithril powder, which is not bad for half of the event. Reasonably, if you're actually on like a higher level profile than me, A, you're going to be mining a lot more, B, you're going to have better buffs. You can get like 200 or 300k mithril powder with a proper setup and the full duration. That is not bad from just 5 minutes of work. Next up, we had our last little easy task to do, which was farming up all of the Glaciite Walkers. Now, they're not that bad to get in general. They have low amounts of health, so it was easy to put down a black hole in the middle and just hit them a few times. Nothing too crazy. I will say they are of note because you can't actually get bonus damage from putting a pickaxe or like a drill inside of your hunt axe, so you will just have to hit them normally, and you don't do a lot of damage unless you're using a pickaxe, which is kind of like the point of these subterranean mobs. So that is something that was kind of annoying, but regardless, they don't have enough health for it to be, you know, something that actually ends up mattering. But the grind was a lot better than before. There were less people trying to grief me. Easy to put down a black hole in the middle and just get all 3,750 shards. Finally, we were at Ghosts. This was the point of divergence for the pre- and post-nerf version of the Demon Shard. Now I would need to get 1,500 of these. Initially, my goal was kind of simple. Jump into the pit behind me over and over again, place down my black hole, and pray to the gods that someone would do enough damage to get me the shards. Admittedly, this was not a good idea in the slightest because A, these ghosts behind me have 1 million health, and B, I have about 600 health. So clearly there is a problem there. On top of that, I failed to realize something extremely important about the way hunting works. You need to deal at least 1% of the total damage of the mob in order for it to be considered possible to hunt. What that means is I could place down a black hole, and it didn't really matter. Even if someone else dealt a ton of damage to the mob, it wouldn't get sucked into my black hole, it would only get sucked into theirs, meaning I would get exactly 0 shards per hour. So I needed a new plan. Being completely honest with you, a solution was really easy to find. It was basically just going to be the Shaman Sword. The idea here is simple. It deals +1 damage per 50 max health. If I get this weapon and then I combine it with Mastiff Armor, which you get from Sven, it's not going to be that hard to deal enough damage to actually get the Ghost Shards. Problem is, you need quite a bit in order to get Mastiff. Notably, quite a lot of gold, quite a lot of diamond, and also a lot of golden teeth, which cost a lot of wolf teeth and more gold. On top of that, I needed Boots of Growth or any other piece of growth armor, which cost a ton of dark oak logs. Thankfully, I have a co-op member who is absolutely wonderful, incredible, so clearly this was going to be not that big of a deal. With Mastiff Armor obtained, I had to take a stop over at the Spider's Den in order to pick up a bunch of Silky Power Stones because I needed a lot of crit damage to make the armor actually useful. Alright, so we're over here by the mist, and the idea here is pretty simple. I have a set of Mastiff, I have a Shaman Sword, and I have somebody else in the party as well, and they're farming ghosts. And the idea is, if I run around the edges here, and I just hit the ghosts a little bit, obviously I'm going to take some amount of damage, right? I'm not going to be immune to it. But if I do some damage to these ghosts, and then other people interact with them, and they go into the black holes, they will effectively be caught, and I will get the shards, because I'm doing some amount of damage. Obviously, it's going to involve a ton of death. I'm going to basically have to die over and over again in order to get it done, but it will work out, seemingly, which is very, very nice. Hey, I got some loot share there for once.
Yay!
$14.95, 5 more to go, 3 more to go, woohoo!
You're cooking.
Dude, this grind is taking so long altogether. We had so many things we needed to get. Can't believe it's about to finally be over. This is the last one that's about to happen. $1,500. Woo! Alrighty. Thank you guys for the assistance. I appreciate it. With the ghost shards obtained, the only thing that stood between me and unlimited demonic power was the fusion machine. And I'm just going to start letting this play in the background. But oh boy, was the fusion machine the worst part of this entire process. I don't know which admin created the system, but didn't design a way for you to bulk fuse multiple different shards at once. But oh my god, please add that as a feature. I feel like I had RSI for like 3 days after the fact. My hands were tingling for literally the next 72 hours. There needs to be a bulk shard feature. It is completely ridiculous in its current form. I couldn't even be happy about fusing together my shards into lapis creepers, into krakens, into the wonderful demon shard that finishes off this challenge, because I had to sit there and left click and move my mouse over and over again a good 3,000 times, which is not very enjoyable in the slightest. But hey, these are the things that a Skyblock player has to do to make video game content. Boom. Now we have 24 demon shards. We could even fuse this together and get burning souls if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that. I can't believe that we're done. There we go. And now we can shift left click to siphon them all. I think we're going to do it one at a time. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There we go. That is it. That's pity maxed out. We got it. There it goes. And we can show it off here towards the end. Your RNG meter fills 10% faster. We have harnessed the demonic power in Hypixel Skyblock. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. Opening up my attribute menu and seeing this feels pretty damn good. My RNG meter will fill 10% faster for the rest of the time that I play this profile, meaning that drops will just be a little bit easier to come by. I'm going to be honest with you, this was quite a bit of a task, and one that I didn't originally expect to get done nearly as quickly. I mean, how was I going to know that the admins were going to nerf my method literally the day after I made the previous video? That just goes to show, never mention what you're actually going to do in your Ironman series on YouTube, you absolute fool, because if you do, the admins will do everything in their power to make your experience 50 times worse, maybe even 100. To be honest, the grind wasn't that terrible. I'm kind of exaggerating a bit. Things were pretty good throughout, but please, man, add an ability for us to multi-fuse. I am going to lose my mind if I have to do this one more time. Please, for the love of God. Anyway, next video is going to be me maxing out foraging. That's right, I've learned literally nothing. I'm telling you in advance, we will be maxing out that skill next time. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure to like, subscribe, use code RAIL in the Hypixel store for 5% off your order, and if you don't sub to Jade, I'll be disappointed.